Hey, if you're here, you're looking for information about 10.5, 10.P.5, factoring quadratic equations. Um, so let's get started. I'm going to highlight the first term green. There we go. It's the first term in number one. The first term is always going to have an exponent, and I'm going to put that in red, or I'm going to draw an arrow in red that's pointing at it. Um, so that's the first term. I'm going to put the second term in blue. There we go. That's the second term. The second term will usually have a number and a letter. And I'm going to put the third term, the last term, in orange. There we go. So that's the last term. The last term will almost never have, will usually just be a number. Um, and I'm going to draw a box very quickly right below it, right here. And I'm going to put my first term in this box, and I'm going to put my last term in this box. Okay, so let me put them in there. Now, right here, I'm going to put the factors that will multiply to b to the power 2, and they are b and b. So b times b equals b squared. Um, and I'm going to put the factors here that multiply to -4, but also add up to +3. Because these two boxes, when I add them together, are going to equal +3 because those two boxes add together to form the middle term. Um, another way to show this is to draw an x like this. I'm sorry, another way to think about this is to draw an x like this and to put the number that these two, that these factors right here, that these two factors will multiply to at the very top, -4, -4, and put the number that they add up to at the bottom, +3. I've also put the number that they add to at the bottom. Uh, so just for your notes, this number is what the two factors in yellow here, the lead number in orange, that's what they multiply to. They multiply to -4. They add up to +3. Now, what we need to look at is the sign here and the sign here. That gives us a clue about the signs of these two numbers right here in yellow. Because this is a negative number, we know that one is positive and the other is negative because the only way to multiply and get a negative number is to multiply a positive and a negative. And we know that this is positive, so we know that the number with the bigger digit, the larger digit, is going to be positive, and the number with the smaller digit is going to be negative because we want to have a positive answer when we add these two yellow numbers together. So let me put that in. So to do that, I have to think of what are the numbers that multiply to 4. There's 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. I don't think 2 and 2 is going to work, so I'm going to cross those out. And I'm going to put 1 and 4 here. Um, remember, this is going to take the bigger digit, so the 4 will go here, the 1 will go there. And that should give me my two factors, +4 -1. And I'm going to put the results of the multiplication of b and +4 and b and -1 here in the blue boxes. Okay, so these blue boxes add up to +3, and so I know that this is correct. This expression will factor to, I will simplify to b plus 4 times, there's no, this right here, the parentheses next to parentheses multiplication, times b minus 1, that equals 0. Now, we want to solve for b. Now this right here I'm going to move this back up here. This part of the equation gives us a clue on how to solve it because we know that whenever we multiply a number, if we multiply it by 0, we have to get 0. So either this, this right here, equals 0, or this equals 0. So we've got to think of what can we make be to make either this, the first expression 0, or this, the second expression 0. And to do that, we have to look at these two numbers, plus 4 and minus 1. If I put the opposite of plus 4 here, it will make this whole parentheses equal 0. The opposite of plus 4 is negative 4. The opposite of negative 1 is plus 1. If I put either negative 4 or plus 1 in for b, that will equal 0 because one of these parentheses, either this one or this one, will equal 0. And because this is a multiplication problem, it'll make the whole thing equal 0. And so it'll be correct. So this is our solution. B equals negative 4 plus 1. Let's try it for the other three problems we see here. I'm not going to go through factoring each one of them. I'm just going to factor them and then show how we can find what a, x, and n equal. Okay, a minus 1 times a minus 6, that's what number 2 will factor to. Now, I'm going to highlight the two numbers. I'm sorry, this all equals 0. Let me highlight the two numbers that are important. Now, to make one of those parentheses 0, we just have to make a has to be either the opposite of negative 1, which is plus 1, and the opposite of negative 6, which is plus 6. So this is our answer. Let's go to number 3. This will factor to x plus 5 times x plus 8, again, sorry, equaling 0. And I'll put the numbers that are important in red again. Plus 5 and plus 8, the opposite of plus 5 is negative 5. The opposite of plus 8, or positive 8, is negative 8. And that's our answer. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 factors to n minus 5 times n plus 2. Again, let me put the important numbers in red. Okay, so we want to make n equal the opposite of negative 5 or the opposite of positive 2. The opposite of negative 5 is positive 5, and the opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. And that is our answer. Okay, so I'm going to post a video later about how to factor in more detail.